Hey, real estate rock stars, welcome to the whole enchilada of real estate investing, the only podcast that serves up the full feast of street smart strategies to build wealth and take control of your financial future. I'm Lou Brown, and I've been in the real estate game since 1976, so I've learned how to make the whole plate worth it. Each week, I'll be dishing out creative financing hacks and proven systems that help investors build multi-million-dollar businesses. No fluff, just the good stuff, straight from the source. Ready to dig in and start making deals? Let's get to it. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the whole enchilada of real estate investing with Lou Brown. And wow, have I got an amazing couple that are going to share with you what they do and how they do it in Memphis, Tennessee. And man, you want to get ready to take some notes, because this is definitely something that's going to turn you on, inspire you for your future. Because imagine that 20 years ago, you could have happened upon something and then just taken the bull by the horns and created something. So I want to introduce you to Mr. Terry Kerr, who is amazing in Memphis, Tennessee, and his property manager, Matthew, that are on board today to teach us, train us, and give us some great guidance on having extremely successful real estate businesses, but also success in just investing in real estate as well. Terry, how are you, my friend?
I am doing so good. I'm a lot better because I'm getting to visit with one of my biggest fans, Lou Brown, or
Oh,
I am the biggest fan of Lou Brown, let's say.
well, both ways. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it has been fun to watch your meteoric rise, which, what do they say? Overnight sensation. It's only took 20 years to get there.
Right.
You know, why don't you tell us a little bit about, well, let's say where you got started and where you are today and what you're doing for real estate investors out there in the world. And also, let's hear from Matthew as well.
Sounds cool. Yeah, so got my start because I wanted to keep my personal overhead low by buying a fixer-upper, and fell in love with making ugly houses pretty. And fast forward, we are America's oldest turnkey seller, been doing this for almost 25 years now. And we have bought, rehabbed, and sold about 5,800 houses, all of those houses which we currently manage. And yeah, so it's been a great business, and we really feel like we're just now getting ready to take off.
I love that. I love that. I can't wait for people to hear this, because guys, listen to Terry. What he did, he fell in love with the business and he saw how he could have his cake and eat it too. And by being able to step in there and really take the heavy lifting off of people's shoulders, it's one thing to buy and sell a house. It's another thing to buy and hold a house. And when you have the responsibility of management, that's another piece of the pie that you need to absolutely master. And Terry and Matthew have absolutely done that. So Matthew, tell us what you do in the organization.
Yes, sir. I got started with Terry back in February of 2012. Back then, I was just looking for an easy sales job. And by that, I mean, I've sold everything back in the day. Sold Rainbow vacuum cleaners door to door, sold Betty Crocker cookbooks over the phone. I was selling Chevrolets before I came to Terry, and just was kind of tired of working the nights and weekends and the holidays of the car business. And I was looking at the product here at Mid-South that Terry was putting out, and it's like, how about I just try to lease the best houses in Memphis? And
Well,
that
that sounds easy.
yeah, it really was. I remember everything back then. It seemed like leased for $675 a month. And
Not anymore.
so yeah, some things have changed since 2012 for sure. But yeah, It's been great to grow with the company. I believe we had about 215 homes when I started back then. And so I've been lucky and blessed to be a part of the growth here over the past almost 14 years now. And it's been a fun ride. And so
Wow.
now I just recently stepped into the sales director role, which is fun because I think I come to it with a unique perspective, having managed inside of the business for about 13 years.
For sure. So how many properties do you manage now?
Almost up to 5,800 now.
Oh,
Um,
oh my
Depends on when this airs, I guess. We're buying and selling every day, but yeah, about 5,800.
I think, Terry, you were telling me that you have like 58 houses on the market now. Is that correct?
Yeah, 55 to 65, they're always coming in and moving out. At any given time, we've got a couple of hundred houses under rehab. We also do brand new construction to rental from the ground up. So I'd say we got about a couple of hundred in the pipeline where hammers are swinging. So they're always coming onto the acquisitions assembly line, falling off the rehab assembly line. Then, of course, we lease them. And once they're leased, then we offer them out to our investors, where we have a short wait list of about 45 days from when people join the wait list to when they start seeing houses. So, yeah, I'd say probably 55 to 65 under contract right now to sell.
Well, I know people are right now thinking, well, what kind of return can I get on my investment if I'm one of those guys that comes in and I'm one of those that just says, you know what? I want to sit in the rocking chair. I want Terry to do all the work. I want Matthew to do all the work. I'm just going to sit in the rocking chair and enjoy life. What kind of return can they expect on their cash?
Yeah, and that's what we're here. We're here to work hard, so you don't have to. And the big thing that we do as well is, I mean, we de-risk the deal for you. So we found the perfect deal for you. We're going to bring it to you, like Terry said, literally turnkey. We've renovated it. We've put a resident in, and we're seeing great cash flow from our investment properties in Memphis and in the Little Rock areas, some as much as 600 a month.
Woo. Yes. Yes. That's a beautiful cash flow. So, one of the things that we look at, you said when you first joined, Terry, 14 years ago, that the average rents were $675 a month. What are they now?
Yeah, so and that same house that was 675 a month, say 12 years ago, that same house now is somewhere in the 1,000 to 1150 range.
To 1150. One of the things I wanted to use that as evidence, guys, is the fact that your properties, when you purchase them, are going up. Inflation is a real thing. I like to say a dollar in January is a different dollar in December. The buying power has gone down. It does that every single year. And so you're almost guaranteed when you own assets that you are going to get a return on your investment and an increase in the income because of the fact that asset is being, let's say, benefited by inflation. In other words, you can hedge your bets. Whatever money you invest in real estate, you're going to get a return on that. Plus, you're going to get at least hedged against the inflation that you can anticipate is going to happen on an annual basis. So, congratulations on that. And I love the concept of holding the property. So you're really insulating the investor from the quote unquote pain and suffering of self management. And you're saying, hey, no, we do that. We buy it, we renovate it, and then we put a customer in there, and then we just simply use your money to purchase that asset. Is that correct?
That is absolutely true. And one of the things that or the actual incident that occurred that got me into this particular side of real estate was bumping into a grade school friend when I'd first gotten into the business, and he had 10 houses that he had bought, rehabbed himself, and was self managing, and he wanted to buy a couple of houses. From me that were my rental properties he saw that I was working on, and he made me an offer, and I said, why would you buy these from me when I'm going to make money on these houses when you could go out, buy them yourself, and fix them up and put them in to your own rental portfolio and save, you know, 5, 6, 7,000 bucks a house. And he said, because I don't have enough time. He said, my wife is tired of me being gone nights and weekends, and I don't have enough time, and it's worth it to me to pay this. I was like, holy cow, a business is born, and we've never been the same since.
How long ago was that?
That would have been 22 years ago.
22 years ago. And when did you meet me?
2003. So right about the,
2003.
yep, right about the same time, man.
Right
It was
on time.
right
Yeah,
on
baby.
time.
Yeah, baby. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That is so fantastic. And really, you took a different route than most people do. You know, most people are buying and holding for themselves. And, you know, they get a handful of properties, but then they really get to a point where they realize, hey, this is a business. And there's something happening in this business ongoingly. People are moving in, moving out, they're breaking up, breaking down, they're transferring. There's different things going on. And man, I got to pay attention to this thing where what you're offering is a different angle. So that 22 years ago aha moment of saying, wait a minute, these investors will come in, they'll give me their money, they'll be happy with the purchase price because, hey, I'm going to do all the heavy lifting. I'm going to find the client. I'm going to put them into the property, and I'm going to deal with rental increases, renewals. I'm going to deal with fixing, cleaning, and turnover and everything. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And one of the ways we keep the costs down for our investors is by doing volume. So if we're rehabbing and doing new construction on a couple of hundred houses, we've got a lot of subs. Our subs don't have to go out and bid the work. We just let them know what we're willing to pay. And so it makes it easy on the sub, which gives us a better deal on the labor for the new construction or rehabs. But that also rolls over into taking care of the properties long term for our investors. So the same folks that are doing the rehabs for us are also doing the repairs on the renovations. So they know the properties intimately, and we're able to keep the costs down, not just by getting a bulk rate, if you will, on the labor, but also because we have got two 30,000 square foot warehouses, one here in Memphis, one in Little Rock, where we have hardware stores and we buy the materials in bulk. We get a very discounted rate, and it allows us to keep costs low, and it allows us to fix the properties quickly because we have pretty much a 100% fulfillment rate to be able to supply the material to take care of that property, which makes the resident happy because we're able to get the property fixed quickly, and then that encourages them, of course, to renew the lease, and that's where the rubber meets the road as far as keeping the return on investment high.
Amen. Amen. So the investor starts with kind of a newly renovated property. The resident starts with a newly renovated property. You start with a property that you don't have to worry about fixing up ongoingly with little nattering repairs here and there. So everybody's happy, it sounds like.
We want to make sure, Lou, that when the deal is done, that everybody that was involved in the deal says, you know what, I want to do that again. And that is, of course, it actually starts with the resident, because if the resident's happy, the investor's happy, right? And so it starts with the resident, and the investor needs to want to do it again. Our closing attorney, the mortgage brokers, all of our rehabbers, our closing team, our in-house leasing, applications processing staff. Everything that we're doing is like an assembly line. And if somebody is not happy with the way it worked, then we need to take a good hard look. And we do that every single day with every house that we buy, rehab, sell, and rent.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you've got kind of like an endless supply of properties to buy. How do you find these properties?
Man, I wish it were endless. It's a lot, but it's not endless. The supply is still way more than the demand. And that is why we started building new construction, because we couldn't
Or did you
find.
mean the demand is bigger than the supply?
That is absolutely what I meant. the demand is bigger than the supply. And so that's why we started doing new construction, because our wait list was getting too long. People were having to wait too long to buy houses from us. And so, we look at a lot of houses until we find one that fits our buying criteria. And our bread and butter are houses that need a whole lot of work. We would rather buy a house that needs everything than a house that just needs paint and carpet. Not only is there less competition for the ones that are completely trashed, but when you're done with a rehab on one that needed everything, you've basically got a brand new house. And it's one of the things that gives us pleasure in being able to offer a 1-year bumper to bumper warranty on 100% of the house. And that's not a warranty that we go and purchase an outside warranty. It's that we in-house have a labor and material warranty on everything from stem to stern.
That's beautiful. So what's the average purchase price on these properties?
I'm going to call the average purchase price is probably mid 60s in Memphis, probably mid 70s in Little Rock, and then we're going to put 50 to 60,000 bucks into the rehab. And so we have very small profit margins, but we do volume. And then
Right.
it feeds
And then
the
it feeds the
management, it
management.
feeds the management company, and just the whole wheel, if you will.
Oh,
Then
okay,
for our
great. So the investor is coming in and purchasing, Matthew, at what price?
The investor's coming in purchasing rehab between 100 to 200,000 if it's a rehab, and if it's new construction, those are starting at 198 up to about 250.
Wow, perfect. Just perfect price points for the majority of the market that's out there, right? So it's not hard to find customers for those type of properties. I love that. And that fits with, what we believe in, which is the path to home ownership. So we put all of our residents on an opportunity to end up with home ownership, whether it be that property or a different property. We're gearing into the trajectory of that client and giving them a different mindset on what's possible in their life. And as a result, looking for better clients, the ones that absolutely want to pay, not have to pay, and have a different mindset on how they care for the property as well. So it's something that we started 15 years ago, and it's really been a game changer for how we approach the market and really bring things in there. So you've got an incredible group of folks that would be very attracted to that business model too, because that's typically where you lose people is they move on to home ownership, right?
They do. And we're very blessed that we have got the longest resident stay in the industry, at least in Memphis and Little Rock, which is about 4 years right now. So, Matthew, you know the stats a little better than I do as far as the length of stay, especially folks that have been with us for 5 and 10 years more.
It's really neat. And it's renters drive our returns, so I think it's important what you said, Lou. I think rookie investors can get hung up into thinking that renters are their adversaries, and they absolutely are not. They are who drives our returns as investors. And so tenant longevity is the name of the game, which is why we provide so much service to encourage that. And like Terry said, we have about a 4-year average stay, and we have over 1,000 renters who have been with us for more than 5 years, which if you think about how many houses we had 5 years ago, we had about 2,200. So almost 50%, are staying 5 years or longer, which is fantastic for your returns.
Oh, that is incredible. And, I just think about equity, as these properties continue to appreciate in value, and really that equity that not only you're doing for the investors, but the equity you're doing for the neighborhoods. You are taking these dilapidated, torn up, torn down, bad apple properties and completely transforming them into something brand new. And I just love that. I think you're making a big impact in Memphis as well,
Well,
and Little Rock.
well, thank you so much, Lou. We really enjoy the instant gratification of seeing the ugliest house on the street become the prettiest house on the street, but then also as you mentioned, the broken window theory is real, right? You fix that broken window, people notice, and they start taking more pride and care of their own homes, and it tells other folks that are maybe wanting to be up to no good that, oh, this is a neighborhood that cares, and they move on elsewhere, right? And we buy houses that are in a state of condemnation all the time. Like I said, those are our favorite kind. So we're in environmental court all the time because we're buying houses that are already there. And I'm pleased to say that in environmental court, if you go on any day of the week, the judge pulls up Mid-South homebuyers houses and tells the court, this is what your house needs to look like. This is the standard. And so we're happy to be the poster folks in environmental court on a daily basis.
Boy, I bet they love you there. They know who you are. They know what you do. They know what your product looks like. And they say, why don't you go talk to those guys? I can just imagine that you've got a great relationship with all the housing code folks.
We do. And then, they'll say, hey, have you looked at this house? We're like, yep, we've looked at that house. And so it's nice. Sometimes we'll get deals from folks in environmental court that just don't want to fix their houses up.
You could just hang out there, couldn't you?
We kind of do, only because we buy so many houses that are in a state of condemnation. We're always there anyway. So it ended up working out.
What a big difference you're making in Memphis and Little Rock. That is just incredible. With the volume that you're doing, I love the idea too of being able to purchase the supplies, at the right price. So you got the 30,000 square foot warehouses times two, and you just fill them up with the supplies. I guess you're bringing it in by the container load, huh?
We are. And, it's, I like to say that business is creative. So we love the creativity of doing business. But as far as, a rental house, it's not necessarily creative because we want to standardize, and we have standardized. So we have the same cabinets, the same ceiling fans, doorknobs, countertops, sinks, faucets, tubs, everything. So everything that you need to build a house or rehab a house is 100% in our warehouses, with the exception of, let's say, specialty siding. And so it makes it easy for us to be able to maintain these houses for our investors. And like, again, I said, the speed with which we can do it for our residents. So it's an enjoyable part of the process.
Well, I think so. And your average investor, how long do they stay with you?
Oh my goodness, so long, Matthew.
We barely had any attrition at all.
Right. Where would they go? Right.
We have some who, I'll say this, no investor who's been with us for 10 years or more has had a bad experience. I was just looking at one, and not to say that I'm promising this for everybody, but I was just looking at a deal yesterday. It's one of our investors who bought from us about 8 years ago, and he bought for $64,000 his property, and he was looking to exit, because he's looking to he's looking to exit. I don't want to give away his personal reasons for exiting, but he was looking to sell quickly, and well, guess what? We're the number one buyer of investment properties in Memphis, and so we were actually able to buy it from him for double what he bought it for 7 or 8 years ago. And so I'm not saying that's typical. I'm not saying everyone gets that kind of deal. I'm just saying our investors are having a good time.
Well, it sounds like you are their exit strategy. And, you really got a couple of options there. You got the resident that's in the property, so you could elevate them on the path to home ownership to eventually own that property, or you just become the buyer of it and sell it to another investor. It makes perfect sense to me. Now
and
that a new investor
Lou,
can just step in. Go
yep.
ahead.
And Lou, you said something that just stuck with me over 20 years ago when I was able to be at your boot camp. And you said, if you can survive, you'll win. And, I'm reading into what Matthew just said, where that, any investor who's been with us 10 years is going to win. And that's because, as you know, there are ups and downs on a per property basis, right? You can have 10 houses and some of them won't have turned over. And then you'll have a couple that just turned over too quickly. But on the long term, it all evens out. And we live by the mantra, if you can survive, you'll win. And
Uh,
you are exactly right, my friend.
yeah, baby. That is the key. That is the key. Survival is the key. And boy, do you offer a great opportunity for people to survive. Now, do your investors typically go out and get like a DSCR loan, or do they typically come to the table with cash?
Most of our folks get loans. I'm going to say about 75% of our buyers get loans, and about the 25% bring cash. And some get DSCR. DSCR is a lot more popular now, obviously, than it was in the recent past. But yeah, that's about 75-25% ratio there.
And I realize, guys, that we're using some jargon here. DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. And that is a new kid on the block, so to speak, of different types of investment loans that are out there, vary widely in what the coverage ratio is and what the costs are. So you definitely want to shop for that. But that is a way that you can be in this business using your credit, using your down payment. You can purchase the investment properties and then leverage yourself, because you're leveraging the bank's money and you're making the differential on the rental. So that's a pretty sweet deal there that can make sense to put more money to work. You end up with 4 properties instead of 1 property if you're leveraging your cash. And so I love what you guys are doing. And it's so rare to find someone that actually is willing to do the management, because management is a thing in and of itself. Now, do you do management outside of your own properties?
We're not interested in managing, going after property management unless we bought it and rehabbed it, or if we built it. There are a handful of houses that we manage that we did not rehab. We are absolutely not going out to look for them. We will manage some of these houses for some of our investors who were not happy with their management solution. And if they're willing to put the properties into the kind of condition to where we can put our name on it, then we will do it. But we certainly don't go looking for it, and I don't know, we turn it down all day, every day. There's such a thing as too much opportunity, right? And
Yes.
I think Henry Ford said, you can have a Model T in any color as long as it's black, right? And so we do have to turn down a lot of opportunities for folks who want us to help them find a house, and they want to pay us to rehab it and that kind of thing. So we're pretty much a simple cookie cutter assembly line, which makes us a little bit better at what we're able to do.
How many investors do you work with now, Terry?
A couple thousand.
Oh my, that's amazing. Yeah, that's incredible. That's a lot to keep up with for sure.
Well, we've got about 110 W-2 employees. We work with about 60 folks in the Philippines that help us with our billing department, accounting department, applications processing, and support. So we've got a big team to make sure that the customer service for the resident, for our investors, and frankly for each other, serving different departments, is there, because I mentioned earlier that everybody needs to be able to say that they want to do the deal again, and our staff is at the top of that list, because if we don't take care of each other, then the whole thing falls apart. So we work hard on quality of life while also being able to focus on growth.
Oh, that's so beautiful and definitely needed. People are tribal, and if they can find somebody they like and is going to take care of them, then they'll take care of them for an extended period of time. So that's quite a beautiful thing. I love that. Now, let's say that somebody's watching us today and they would like to do what you're doing, and they would like to do it in their market, wherever that might be. What would your advice be to someone that is got a lot of energy like you do and willing to do whatever it takes to create the amazing machine that you've created? What would your advice to them be?
Sure. The first thing I'd say is join your local real estate investment club and surround yourself with like minded people. that you can feed off their energy and you can learn from them. There's going to be some folks that are there that have been around for a long time that are willing to dispense advice for free. And then when it gets down to actually executing, pick a specific area of town where the numbers are going to be favorable from a cash flow standpoint and work on that specific area, farm that area, learn what the rents are, learn what the sales prices are, be able to see what that cash flow is. And then once you identify that area and and pull the trigger on your first one, then I would recommend to be able to get a good deal is one thing, but to be able to get a good deal on labor is a whole nother thing. And to be able to get a good deal on labor and get speed is another thing. And so I would encourage folks to talk to folks in their real estate investment club to try to find good referrals for electricians, general handymen, HVAC, roofs, the whole 9 yards, and not try to reinvent the wheel. That's what I did right out of the gate, is try to reinvent the wheel, and it was terrible. And then I joined my real estate investment club and started, meeting like-minded people that had a lot more experience than I did, and started to take off pretty quickly after that.
Well, man, you're man after my heart because as founding president of National RIA, National Real Estate Investors Association, I love the concept of coming together as a group, people that are investing in the same community and really helping and supporting one another, and coming to a meeting like that with an open mind and open arms, ready to help, ready to support, rather than coming in, I got mine and I'm here to get some more. And, I think having the right mindset when you walk into a group like that is very important. So it sounds like you did exactly that.
I followed your lead, Lou, and I think I mentioned to you before we started that to this day we're still using the sales contract that I bought in the whole Enchilada course 22 years ago. I think we've used it, about 5,800 times.
I love that, my friend. That is such great news, and definitely is a great note about the whole enchilada of real estate investing. Guys, it's just amazing what you can end up with. And often, I always like to remind people that we often overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what we can do in a decade. And what Terry and Matthew are teaching us today is, wow, what you can do in such a short period of time, and looking at an entire lifetime. It is an incredible story, an incredible journey, and just congratulations, man, on such a powerful and amazing organization that you put together. And really, you have mastered the concept of business management as well, because really, that's no small feat to put together an organization like that, and a culture like you have, to be able to have the support that you have with the organizations you have as well. What would your advice be from a business management standpoint?
And hire people that really care. You can't teach care. Hire people that are hardworking, of course, and smart, of course, but folks that are respectful and really care and understand that the way to grow in business and in life is to champion your fellow teammates and try to bring them up. So it's like here, it's like one hand down, one hand up, right? You got one hand up, for folks that have been around longer and have more experience, and you got one hand down helping the folks that are newer to the organization. And then also I would just say, try to operate, and you mentioned this earlier, Lou, with the right mindset. And we believe the mindset is creativity, not from a competitive place, because there's not just so many pieces of the enchilada. You can make the enchilada as big as you want, and just having that mindset, I think, is very important.
And that's so true. That's so true. And such great advice, because really, if you're going to build an organization, you have to have the right culture. And the thing that I laugh about in my organization is people get with me and stick with me is like galvanized, magnetized, whatever And it just is amazing how people will stay for extended periods of time. That's really what we want. We want help that's going to stay a long time, and we want residents that are going to stay a long time. And Terry and Matthew, man, you have mastered that part of the business and mastered what you're doing. Now, what would you say is your biggest challenge in being in this business?
Finding enough product. That's the toughest. That's the toughest thing. And as I mentioned earlier, starting the new construction process is helping us with that. We've been on a tear for buying as much dirt as we can. We're building 2 new subdivisions in Little Rock right now. We've got a bunch of scattered lot stuff we're doing here in Memphis. So it's for us right now. It's the product, but we've got a plan, and it is starting to bear fruit.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that. So congratulations on that. And guys, listen, you've got an opportunity here because Mid-South home buyers, hey, they're open to new investors. They're open to others coming in and seeing what they do and doing what they do. And wow, how could you learn from anybody smarter than Terry and Matthew, and Terry having gotten the whole enchilada 22 years ago?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. We need to update you, man. We got some other goodies. I'm sure you could update us as well.
Cool, man. We need some updating.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. Well, one of the things that I always tell people is, along the way, you got to be planning your estate and really making sure that you're owning the properties in the right thought pattern of what can happen out there in the real world. I imagine you've had some legal challenges over the years. What would your advice be to people facing a business like this and the how to navigate the legal side of things?
Sure. First off, make sure that all of your subs have workers' comp and general liability insurance, because it's not if something's going to go wrong, it's when. And so that for me, that's the main thing. So keep workers' comp and general liability yourself, but make sure everybody that steps onto your property to do work is insured. And then, of course, have the right leases in place and have the right entity structure in place. And then, yeah, then on down the line, especially when you've got, something to protect, make sure that you're set up with the right estate planning, and that everything is buttoned up there, not just from a liability standpoint, but also from a tax saving standpoint.
Man, beautiful, beautiful advice. Yeah, that's one of the things that we evolved to is a different kind of trust structure when you get to a certain level in business. I start everybody off with the land trust and personal property trust. And then when you get to a certain level, we go to a different direction because of the tax benefits, like you said. So there's always something else to learn. There's always something else to do as you're building an amazing business. Well, what would you like to finally here at the end of the podcast? What else would you like to share?
I've done too much talking. Matthew, what you got?
I'd just love to invite your listeners to come join us on our next tour. We're doing a tour November 13th in Little Rock and November 14th in Memphis. Investors can join for one or both, and we would love to have you there. You can engage with us on our website at midsouthhomebuyers.com and go ahead and take a look at our properties. Like Terry said, we have the good problem of just a little bit of a wait list, but not too long, about 45 days after joining the wait list, you'll start
Wow.
seeing properties that you can purchase.
That's pretty darn amazing. That's pretty amazing that people can start getting, because usually they have to wait an extended period of time. So congratulations with that as well, being able to serve so many investors and keep them happy is a feat in and of itself. And definitely, how do people find you?
So yes, they can either email us at invest@midsouthhomebuyers.com. They can give us a call or go to our website at midsouthhomebuyers.com.
Yeah. And one other thing, Lou, is that we want to work with everybody, right? But the way kind of we got started is through education. And, some of your listeners may want to operate closer to home. And so the website is geared to teach you how to kick over the rocks and ask the questions of, any turnkey seller or any property management company. Because, not only have we did a lot of things wrong when we were getting started and learned from it, but also, we've seen experiences that our investors and other investors have had in different markets. And so use our website as an educational tool to learn, like I said, the questions to ask, and it kind of shows you where the bodies are buried, and how to underwrite your own deal in any market.
Wow. Wow. Such great advice, man. Congratulations on your amazing meteoric rise, your overnight success that took 22 years to get to. And wow, just keep up the great work. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Lou. I've been so looking forward to this, and I appreciate you having us on.
And that's when we say, yeah, baby. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
baby.
Keep up the great work. Keep us posted. And we look forward to seeing you on the next edition of the whole enchilada of real estate investing with Lou Brown. Yeah, baby. Thanks for tuning in to the whole enchilada of real estate investing. I hope you're feeling ready to take your investing game to the next level. If you're serious about building wealth, you won't want to miss the Millionaire Jumpstart. It's a 3-day live event that's perfect for any level of investor. Whether you're just getting started or you're looking to scale, this can be one of the final steps of making real wealth happen. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now at millionairejumpstart.com and get ready to make big moves in your real estate journey. I'm Lou Brown. Until next time, keep hustling, and remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how smart you play the game.